Two balls and a strike to count on Taylor. Reyes fires, swinging a drive, deep left field. This is one back. Walk the ball. Reyes Taylor.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined today by DodgerBlue.com writer Scott Geirman. Scott, the Dodgers season is over, and yet the beauty of covering and following this team is that even a couple days after the season has ended, they are right back in the thick of the news. This is a story I knew we would talk about eventually. I wasn't prepared to start talking about it today, but Mark Feinsand of MLB.com wrote an article earlier this week titled, "Here are 8 possible landing spots for Trea Turner." Now, Scott, we knew Trea Turner was going to be a free agent. We knew that the Dodgers would be interested, that there would be plenty of suitors for one of the premier players in all of baseball. What we did not know, Scott, was the line that Feinsand was going to drop right in the middle of the Dodgers paragraph, which says this, quote, "There has been a lot of talk that the Dodgers are prepared to let Trea Turner walk in order to make a big play for Aaron Judge." Again, we knew Turner was going to be a free agent. We knew the Dodgers were going to be linked to Judge. I wasn't prepared to see sourced information this early on for Aaron Judge over Trea Turner. When you see a sentence like this, I'd love to hear your initial thoughts on the Trea versus Judge.
Star power. I mean, Aaron Judge is out there. You have to at least inquire. Between the two, I mean, my thoughts on that is that, Trea Turner, absolutely, the Dodgers need a premier player at shortstop. He's there. He was with the team for the past, season and a half. You have to, prioritize him right at the top. He's, premier offensive shortstop, aside of his defensive downfalls, in pretty pivotal spots, you really need to prioritize him pretty up there, if not at the highest top of your list for your free agents.
Yeah, and I'll get into the numbers here in just a second, but I think you bring up an interesting point, which is the positional value of these two guys. Let me ask you this, putting the positional thing aside, because I do think it's important, but I want to pause it. Aaron Judge, the player, Trea Turner, the player. You're starting a franchise from scratch. Which guy would you prefer? They're around the same age. Judge is a few months older than Trea Turner, it looks like. Excuse me. Judge is 30 years old, and so I guess Judge is about a year older than Trea Turner. If you just had to pick one and you didn't have a more pressing need at one position than the other, Judge versus Trea Turner, who would you rather commit to for the next 7 or 8 years?
I would probably say Aaron Judge.
Okay.
Just for me. I know, you ask me, maybe in a few months, and I might change that. They're two very unique players. Trea Turner is unique in that his, speed for me will stick around a lot longer, but I really feel like Judge can shift to a corner outfield position with the DH now. There's a lot more versatility there, and I think his bat to ball skills are best in the majors, top 5 at least.
Yeah.
That's where I stand on that at this very moment. Trea Turner, we've seen what his deficiencies, but I really do like Aaron Judge's profile. I think that his trajectory has put him up there for me. That's just, kind of where I stand on the two.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, and I'm with you on Judge. And I would guess I would disagree on one thing that you said, which is the reason that Trea worries me is because of the speed. Like, we're talking about a guy who's just over 29 years old. He has elite speed. That speed is going to still be there, presumably, for the next few years. But what about in year 5, 6, and 7 of this deal? When Trea Turner's 34, 35, 36, if he doesn't have the elite speed, what does he have? He hit 21 home runs this year in 160 games. So that's not bad. It's not amazing. He had 28 last year in 148 games. But if the power is declining, he had the lowest slugging percentage in his career since 2018. I think there was a line in here talking about how that on a health side, he's played 651 of a possible 708 games, which is positive since 2018. His OPS this year dropped 100 points from his 3-year average coming into the season. And so all that is to say, if the speed starts to slip with Trea Turner, we know the defense is a little shaky at shortstop, then what do you have? Judge, on the other hand, as you pointed out, I think the bat-to-ball skills, we're seeing guys like Nelson Cruz and Albert Pujols and JD Martinez, JD Martinez less so, but those other two guys sort of be able to hit well into the tail end of their career, into their upper 30s and 40s, even if defensively they're not bringing anything. And so I think on the surface, that's what I would say about those two guys. But the point you made initially, I think, is the important one. Positional value matters. The Dodgers can go out and sign Judge. I would argue they have a need in the outfield. Mookie Betts is the only outfielder you feel really good about out there. Obviously, Trace Thompson has a little bit of team control. People love James Outman. Michael Busch maybe can play a little bit of outfield if you like some of these prospects. Chris Taylor, whatever you're going to get out of him, feels like more of a fourth outfielder at this point. But if Trea Turner doesn't come back to the Dodgers, you need to sign somebody to play shortstop. And if it's not Trea Turner, are you going to splash cash on Dansby Swanson, Xander Bogaerts, or heaven forbid, Carlos Correa? And so if you and I would both take Judge over Trea Turner on just a one-to-one, like all things equal, okay. But who would you prefer in the situation the Dodgers are now specifically in, which is they need a shortstop. They don't have a shortstop unless you want to trust Gavin Lux or Chris Taylor there. I don't think either of us want Chris Taylor after the offensive season he just had. Maybe you'd give Gavin Lux another try. They've got Jacob Amaya in the minors. I don't think he's ready. He had an up and down year at AAA. Not really a guy you ever expect to be an average major league level bat necessarily. So for you, Judge versus Trea Turner, if you're the Dodgers, who would you take?
So, oh man.
It's worth pointing out. Let me add one more thing. Judge is probably going to be more expensive than Trea Turner. So, like with Trea Turner, you're probably getting a $5 to $7 million a year discount. Worth pointing out as well.
Yeah, we're in the upper. We're in 20,
yeah, exactly.
$30 million range.
It's going to be 35 instead of 42 for Judge.
Yeah. So it depends on the opt-outs and things like that. If it's fully guaranteed, that's another story. Oh my goodness, Jeff, buddy. I'll say, Judge, just based on the fact that, I would really enjoy to see, it's a tough thing to ask seriously, just because other teams, just lack this of like possibility to do these type of things. So just to be not a troll, just to do it, to load up as much as I can, I'll just, say Aaron Judge. But I want to get this point out there as far as the shortstop market. It's always premier shortstops are very, scarce. And Trea Turner is an elite offensive player. I really wish, back to his speed, I really wish he used his speed more. He does not like taking walks. And, it was his lowest slugging percentage season, but he does not like taking walks. He gets on base with base hits, but a lot of his outs come out with ground outs to short, ground outs to the left side. He has the tools, and we're nitpicking here because he's at the upper echelon of shortstops, but he could be so much more versatile. We saw that bunt, and that was phenomenal. That's just one thing. But if he took more walks and didn't chase as much, if his chase rate went down, he would be as good as it gets. Yeah. But the shortstop market this upcoming year, there's a lot of interesting options, and I would even venture to say they should explore a trade for Tim Anderson. He's, they have a club option for, I think, $12.5 million, and they should definitely call the White Sox about that. He's had earned in the last year of his deal. And I think that for me, that would be something I would really like them to see explore.
Yeah, I mean, Trea Turner, just for context, he was 12th in Major League Baseball in wins above replacement, according to Fangraphs this year. Yeah. So you're getting that at a shortstop level. And by the way, this is a guy who has been, I would say, fairly consistent at the wins above replacement level. I mean, 6.3 this year. He was 6.8 a year ago. He was 2.7 in the shortened season, 4.2, 4.9. So we've got a track record of a guy who's an incredibly valuable player. The counter to all that is Aaron Judge. I had to do a double take, Scott, when I looked up his wins above replacement. 11.5. I don't think, I mean, Shohei, they've never really quite figured out how to calculate his wins above replacement. 11.5 for Judge. The numbers are stupid. Obviously, we know about the 62 home runs. He hit 311 with 62 home runs. He had an on-base percentage of 425. I mean, these are legitimately Barry Bonds level numbers, although in a guy that's much more likable than Barry Bonds, I think everybody can agree on that. And so it's interesting because I'm with you. Judge, I would rather pay. I feel way better about year 6 and 7 of an Aaron Judge contract because worst case scenario, maybe he's playing a little bit of left field. If not, I still feel like I'm getting an above average to elite DH at age 35 and 36 for Aaron Judge. By all accounts, he's a great guy. I do think health is a concern. He's put together back-to-back full seasons, 148 games last year, 157 this year. He missed 32 games in 2020. He missed 60 games in 2019. He missed 50 games in 2018. Did play the full year in 2017. Was a rookie in 2016. So I do think there's some health stuff. Obviously, Trea Turner comes with many of the same concerns. Again, has played a lot of full seasons, 160, 148, 59 the last 3 years. Missed 40 games in 2019, full season in 2018, missed a ton of time in 17 and a ton of time in 16 as well. And so it's an interesting debate. I think a lot of people are going to be like, really, we're debating Trea Turner versus Aaron Judge? How is this a debate? I think you and I would just encourage those people to say, you need somebody to play shortstop. You need someone. I'm with you. I think a trade might be the best option. I personally would not bet on Dansby Swanson. One good year, one elite year from him. Boegarts, I think, is the most interesting. I'm not interested at all in Carlos Correa. Cross the name off. Take the name off the board like you hear in draft conversations. But they've got to find somebody there because I don't think the answer is inside the organization unless they want to try Gavin Lux, which if Aaron Judge comes to play outfield and they're like, the cost of doing that is Gavin Lux at shortstop, sign me up for that, right?
Okay. Yeah. No, I won't say it on here, but I mean, Dansby's interesting. Carlos Correa, I won't get into that because I'm a known, I'm okay with it type guy. It's
yeah.
So
we got lots more time. We got lots more time to talk shortstop stuff. This is just a little taster, a little appetizer here. Plenty of time in the offseason to discuss this more. Again, Feinstein from MLB.com saying there's a lot of talk that the Dodgers are prepared to let Trea Turner walk in order to make a big play for Judge. So we'll see what happens. That's Scott Geirman. My name is Jeff Spiegel. As always, we appreciate you joining us. Check out DodgerBlue.com, DodgerBlue1958 on social media. If you're a podcast person, we're part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network, so check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. We will be putting content out throughout the offseason as we look ahead to the 2023 season. As we're talking about now, there's going to be content. The Dodgers are always going to be in the mix, always in the rumors, so should be a fun one. That's Scott. I'm Jeff. Go Dodgers.